Hey everyone, another video on setting up and making some changes in Adobe InDesign. So I'm going to open up Adobe InDesign and I have a new page that's relatively blank with the exception of the margin lines. And I want to show you how to make some changes to the margins and create some columns and work with the gutter. There are many ways to do the same thing in Adobe InDesign, but at this stage of the game, I'm going to use my layout tool in order to create some different margins for this layout. So I click on layout and I go to margins and columns, and that brings up a dialog box that allows me to change what my margins are set at. Right now I have a top margin of 0.375, a left margin of 1 inch, a bottom margin of 0.375, and a right margin of 0.375. You'll notice that there's a little chain right here, and that chain has a line through it, so it looks like it's broken. If I click on that chain and connect everything, that means that when I set one margin, all of the margins will change to that. When I break the chain, I can independently change the margins to whatever I want, independent of each other. The second thing that I want you to be aware of in this margins and columns dialog box is that you can set the number of columns. You can change the number of columns really to whatever you want, and there's also a space in between the columns called the gutter, and you can change the gutter here. Right now I have my number of columns set at 8 and my gutter set at 1/16 of an inch, and the decimal equivalent is 0.0625. At that point, if I'm happy with my margins and I'm happy with the number of columns and the gutter I have set up, you click OK. Now the other thing that I'd like to show you how to change is the orientation of the page. So right now I have portrait orientation and I want to go to landscape. If I go up to the word file and I go down to document setup, it opens up the original dialog box, or something similar to the original layout dialog box when you created the page. I'm looking for orientation, and right now I can see that my orientation is portrait. All I have to do is click on the landscape, and you can see that it changed my width and height. It still shows me my margins, and that's it. That's where I changed that. If you needed to turn off facing pages, you could change that here, but everything looks really good. I could also click on and see a preview of my document. That looks great. I'm going to click OK. So again, this video was just a basic video on how to change your margins and columns and to set the gutter or the space in between the columns, and also how to change the page orientation from landscape to portrait or portrait to landscape.